Day in the month of June. It's Business Express time, and Rotus is laughing at me already.
Yeah,
Good morning,
because
Rotus.
you're going over the day of the month and the dates.
I
Like
have
the
to remind some people.
20th time this morning. Ayo, it's good to see you
It's
again.
good to see you,
Welcome back.
Rotus.
Welcome back.
Thank you
Welcome
very
back.
much.
Had a
Good
good
to be
holiday?
back. I did. I did. It
Excellent.
was good. Now, if you'd
Excellent.
like to
Excellent.
join the conversation this morning and remind us of the date and time, you might want to go onto Twitter at Smooth981FM and use the hashtag Business Express 981. Rotus has tweeted something really important, so you please go on there and retweet. Follow
Yes.
him as well at Rotan Quotes. That's ROTANKWOT.
Yes, indeed.
And then on WhatsApp, we're at 0809 444 We're also streaming live on YouTube, so please get involved.
All right, so the market was down by 0.2% yesterday. So far, we're down by 5.8% so far this year. So let's see now, 29,609 points is where the market closed. Courtville Business Solutions was the top performing stock yesterday, up by 9.5%, closed at 23 kobo. Chams PLC, worst performing stock, down by 10%, closed at 27 kobo. Let's see now. So kicking things off, there's new leadership at Forte Oil. Nairametrics was one of the media outfits that got a chance to sit down with Mr. Olumide Adeosun, the new CEO. They also have a new CFO, Moshood Olajide. So of course, Chief Executive Officer and CFO being the Chief Financial Officer. Mm-hmm. So they sat down, of course, with the CEO though to speak with him along with some other media outlets, and he was talking about the plans for the company now that Mr. Altedola has moved on. Didn't really go into detail. Talked in general terms. He particularly was speaking to shareholders, saying, message to minority shareholders of Forte Oil that they're growing a sustainable business. They would like for everyone who has a share in the company to retain their shares. The company has a positive outlook for where they're going, and they should stay put. He also did mention, though, as far as the brand is concerned, that the brand was tied to Mr. Otedola, and so where's the quote here? It says it's likely he won't hold it against us if we rebrand. So that was a little hint that there could be a rebranding of Forte Oil in the near future. So we can look at that possibly happening. What else did he say? He didn't really touch on much, but the thing is though, if you look at the margins for the downstream sector, because that's where they're primarily going to be playing, they're really thin, and he did mention that in the interview as well. So the issue is now, the Gerigu power plant was a performer to look at in their financials. So it'd be interesting to see how they perform in the third and fourth quarter of this year. Since Mr. Otedola is taking that and focusing on that exclusively. Yes. I know that downstream players, they say a quiet prayer at night that the federal government should deregulate PMS so that their margins can increase, because of course NNPC is the main importer, doesn't give them much of a margin to play with. So it'll be interesting to see how things go, but we do wish them best of luck. So we'll see how things go with the rebranding efforts. Once again, it's this Prudent Energy Services Limited that's taking over and moving forward. So again, new CEO Olumide Adeosun and new CFO Moshood Olajide over at Forte Oil. Rebranding in the future. They're playing around with the margins. We'll see how that goes. Moving on from oil and gas to aviations. I know they talked about this on Freshly Pressed yesterday, but there was another update on that helicopter thing. It took 3 days for the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority to announce that they would be investigating what happened, and I thought this was very interesting. The company spoke to the BBC. Don't know why they didn't speak to any Nigerian newspapers.
That unfortunately, there's precedent has been set with regards to speaking to foreign media before speaking to.
Well, that is sad.
Local. Yeah, it's quite.
That's
sad.
Annoying. How dare you talk to the BBC first? But anyway, Tropical Arctic Logistics Limited is the name of the company. Femi Adeniji is from that particular company, and he spoke to the BBC, saying that the story now, according to this BBC headline, is that the person who was picked up suffered a stroke. That's what they're saying, and so that's the reason why the helicopter came and picked him up. So it was an emergency situation.
Okay.
You know, I find it very interesting that they didn't bring out this news on Monday. They didn't bring it out on Tuesday. They waited until the NCAA came out and said they're investigating it. That's when they now came out and say, oh, it was an emergency. And so that's where they are with that. So we'll see how that that goes.
How that plays out.
Yeah,
we have
because
some comments.
already,
on
okay.
Questions, yes. So Papi K is asking you a question. Aren't they changing the name? So in regards to your 40 oil story,
Right.
where is Uncle taking this $1 billion to? I ain't buying that power story. What about you?
No. Again, I did mention that. Thank you for the message or question, Papi K. The new CEO did say that down the line there is going to be rebranding, so they'll probably will indeed change the name. As for the billions, I believe the figure was 64 billion. Sounds lovely.
Lovely.
Yes, he's going to focus looks exclusively on power. That's where he's taking it. So he took Gerugu, which was, kind of sort of the goose that was laying the golden egg for the company. Well, and that's where he's going with that. So, I believe him. That's where he's going.
All right,
Mr. Dangote is his good friend. He's
Okay.
also into power. So I think they'll hold hands as buddies and go in there and see
So
how
they've
things
seen
go.
gold somewhere.
Yeah.
All right, so Afis from Aja says, I think there is need for 40L to rebrand. The name 40 was coined out from F for Femi and the Ote from Otedola. So that name can no longer hold.
Exactly. And that's what this new CEO mentioned. Exactly.
And then Benga says, we gathered the helicopter that landed on the expressway, came to evacuate. Oh, so that's what he's just saying.
Okay, stroke. Yeah,
He's saying,
Benga.
but this is Nigeria. Where do things happen?
Benga, you believe it's, well, I don't know, the timing.
Papa has a question, but I don't know if you'll be able to answer it today.
Yeah.
He's asking about federal government bonds.
Okay.
How they work and what's the least amount one can put into
Okay,
it.
perfect. Yeah. Okay, talk about really quickly. We do this every new week of the new month. They open the window. So the federal government savings bond is a bond that is issued by the federal government of Nigeria. The minimum is 5,000 naira for you to buy into it. The coupon payments are quarterly, so 4 times a year. And then there's a 2-year tenor. There's a 2-year bond and a 3-year bond. You can buy the bond from any one of the brokerage services. Stanbic is one of our sponsors for today. So for example, you can reach out to Stanbic in order to get the bond. So yeah, it's a good avenue for you to save.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Many comments you want us to go ahead?
Of course, yeah.
Okay, so Ben from GTI says, please, I'd like you or any of your friends in your business AM program to help in explaining this statement. And I think we're going to Airtel IPO.
Yeah.
Do you want to wait for
Yeah,
that?
well, no, I mean,
So he's saying it should be noted that if UK admission does not occur, all conditional dealings will be of no effect, and such dealings will be at the sole risk of the parties concerned. Temporary documents of title will not be issued. UK admission shall not be conditional on Nigerian admission, whereas Nigerian admission shall be conditional upon UK admission. There can be no assurance that Nigerian admission will occur on the date indicated above or at all. This statement is on page 385 of the prospectus. Please, what does it mean?
All right, thank you for that, Ben. So essentially, Airtel's main focus is listing on the UK, on the London Stock Exchange. That is where they are. So Nigeria's listing is secondary, which is the reason why they said that the UK listing is not dependent on Nigeria, but the Nigerian listing is dependent on the UK. So they are listing in the UK first and foremost. That is where Airtel has a lot of debt. Nairametrics actually has an article on this. I think it's about $3 billion or so that they owe in debt. The telecoms companies, the masts, the operations. Telecoms is an expensive business. So they've got a lot of debt. And, with the stock exchange, when you raise money on the stock exchange, you are essentially getting money from shareholders. And come on, UK versus Nigeria, deeper pockets over there. That's why they're listed. It's primarily there. The part about there is no assurance that Nigeria's admission will occur on the date indicated above. That one is just the Nigerian factor. They're just essentially saying that.
Just protecting themselves in case it doesn't happen.
In case it doesn't happen. That's just what they're saying. So that's that about that. But yeah, okay. So other messages.
Still talking about the stock exchange, but
Okay.
we fought it all this time.
Right.
Will they delist from the stock exchange? Yemi asked.
No. Because if you listen to the CEO's comments, he kept talking about the shareholders staying put, holding their shares. So no, I don't believe there'll be any delisting. It's just the name change will just happen, and they'll still continue to be a publicly traded company.
I saw Yinka forever the optimist in quotes.
Pessimist.
Yes, I'm trying to make him
Okay.
positive. So he says, a prayer at night. Rotus, come on, you know the drill now. He's BFFs, as best friend forever.
Right.
Refinery is about to go live, which probably makes any ripple that a total deregulation might cause less effective. because the regulation is only effective when we keep importing.
But no, Yinka, actually take the reverse of that. I think that deregulation will happen because his BFF has spent billions on the refinery. And so if think about it now, Yinka, imagine you spent, what did they say he spent? 13 or 14 billion dollars on that thing. How will you recoup your money back? You can't recoup your money back if you're forced to sell at 145. You got to sell at 300 or 400. So I actually think once his refinery comes on stream that the regulation will happen. If anybody, if he can force the government's hand, it's probably his BFF.
All right, no. So Shagun is also asking, would downstream sector companies in Nigeria still be relevant when Dangote refinery comes on stream? There'll be nothing for these companies to import.
Shagun, that's a very good question. Well, I don't think they'll close down. They'll probably it's a market share issue. So it would be the elephant in the room, the largest share. But other companies, you can't expect them to just close shop. They'll still obviously be selling.
All right, so Chinedu asks an important question with regards to the helicopter company speaking to
and I agree with his question.
He says, did any local press get across to the helicopter company? So we can't accuse the company of talking to foreign press before local.
Okay, you know what, Chinedu, I can accept that argument, but okay, so we don't know. I don't know, but I mean, come on now. If it was on the news, it was everywhere. But good point. If a local company didn't reach out to them, then I guess if it was BBC, that's the first set of folks they would have talked to. I guess I can accept that. Yeah. You know, what else we got?
Happy K says, now it's so with your explanation with the photo.
Okay, the photo, right.
Your sidekick G, so this is his own theory about owning the largest refinery in this side of the Atlantic. Plenty sources to ensure power generation, not a big deal. No wonder these dudes are billionaires in dollars. And guess what? He keeps the two geniuses that built Forte, his MD and CFO.
Right, I hear they're probably moving over to him as well. I wanted to get into VAT. I'll probably have to wait till Monday. The rant I had on VAT. Anyway, it's about us paying higher taxes, but I guess we'll touch on it some Monday. I love interacting with everybody.
Did someone just say higher taxes?
Well, hey, look,
people's antenna have gone up. Antenna have gone up. Like what? Well, thank you so much, Rotus, for a fantastic morning.
And thanks for all the messages as well. Appreciate it.
Thank you for keeping us engaged, and you keep giving Rotus questions.
And homework.
Shining
exactly.
Because
more
he
homework.
answers and does it so just.
We love it. We love it.
All right, Lagos, we're going on a break now. When we come back, we have some important information for you before we go on a music break. But very importantly, remember, Freshly Pressed 91 at 7:30. Stay tuned.
Nice.
So